Hey guys, welcome back to this mini training. Today I'm going to show you guys how I took this slightly asymmetrical pair of brows and turned them into softer arches. So first we're going to begin with cleansing the skin with an aesthetic wipe, and again I use the GG wax cleanser. And then we're going to do a little pre-trim here where I'm just cutting down mainly like the really long hairs. Next we're going to start our stopwatch, and then we're going to take our first solution from the Tweeze, and pretty much that's what I use in terms of lamination kits anyways, and then we're going to work that into the brow. And since she has downward facing hairs, we want to kind of keep that in mind, and I would say that she was definitely more on the medium coarse side, so we're going to keep the solution in anywhere from like 10 to 11 minutes. We're just going to check it every 3 minutes or so to make sure the hair is stretching. And it is normal when a client does have downward facing hair, which is very common in Asian clients, that some of the hairs, even at the end of the full processing time, it can still be a little bit resistant, okay? So you can either trim those down, and you can sometimes pluck it, but it really just depends on whether that creates a hole or not. So here you can see we have reached the 11-minute mark, and then I'm using a damp aesthetic wipe to remove the rest of the solution and make sure that it stops processing. Then I'm going in and creating some shapes here. I don't even know. Oh, I said hi. I created this for funsies, you know. It's very sloppy here. I said hi there. And then we're going to work that in with our lip applicator, and we're going to make sure that that sits for the exact same amount of time that we did with the first solution, so 11 minutes, and then we're going to make sure that we style that into place right away. Again, making sure that the direction of the hairs are exactly where we want them to be, since this is the setting solution, and that is going to help rebuild the bonds in the hair. So just kind of take your time here to get them into place, but make sure that both hairs process the exact same amount of time. And then we're going to just make sure that we clean up any of that excess solution here with our aesthetic wipe. And then we're going to go ahead and cover that with plastic wrap. So here I'm using the lip applicator to do that on both sides. Again, not touching the top so we don't kink or bend the tops. And then we're going to sit that on the skin, and we're not going to touch it for the whole 11 minutes. And then you can do a couple of different things here, like gel, under eye gels, or, you know, another cute thing to add on for your services while you wait. And then here we're going to do some mapping. I'm starting with the middle line and then the front, and then we're gonna do the arches. So I'm taking that arch more towards the middle since we are creating more of a softer arch. I go into how to really break down how to create different shapes and why you're creating them in the online courses. Now, if you've never learned anything about the 8 main brow shapes, it is going to really change your life, because here I'm showing you where to place the lines, but what really changes the game is how and why, you guys. So if you want that detail, if you guys really want to learn how to map, then you can do that inside Badass Brows, okay? So here we are placing all of our lines and connecting all of the dots to create more of a softer arch here, which means that our body of the brow is going to have a slight diagonal angle, so it's not so straight. And you can see here that I keep the mapping line as close to the brows as possible. That's what keeps me from making sure that we don't go too thick, okay? So we want to make sure that we stay as close to the brows as possible, unless they have super thick brows and we're trying to trim those down, right? But because her hair is, her brows are slightly thinner, we want to preserve as much hair as possible. So here I'm getting that as close to the brows as possible, keeping the lines nice and tight. At an angle, you can see that it's at a diagonal, and I'm just stretching it from the front all the way to the arches, and then taking my tail point and creating what's called like a pizza. And I show you guys in more depth what that means inside Bab on the redheaded model, because that's going to help you connect your points. And again, you want to make sure that you check your guys' mapping sitting up, because when we work backwards, sometimes it looks really even, and then you have them sit up and there's a lot more mistakes. So I always check with every client, which I don't show here. But again, in the course, I show you guys how to do it laying down and sitting up, and there's drills on dummy heads, and, you know, really just some workbook stuff so that you guys can practice that outside of taking your guys' clients, because that's how you learn to refine your eye, is through clients and through practice. So here we are taking our brow code stain and we're using taupe and dark roast. And again, formulations are all inside the course. You guys can see the links to all the products I use here below inside my free ultimate brow guide, where I list all the brow must-haves for beginner and intermediate artists. And then I also give you guys tips on how to use it correctly to jumpstart and up-level you guys' work right away. So here I'm working from tail to front, and again using the remainder of my what's on my brush to work that more translucent in the front of the brow, and then just darkening the tail so that way that is the darkest part of the brow. So here we're just focusing on creating she only wanted to keep it about a shade darker, which again is why clients come to me. You guys, this has gotten me so booked out. You know, a lot of other artists do dark saturated brows, and my clients, they don't come to me for that. But I doubled down on that, and that took me from taking 3 clients a week to fully booked in literally 6 months. So if that is a style that you guys would like to learn, you find that your clients are coming to you for the same reason, then you're gonna want to learn all my secrets inside my courses. And you can start with my $47 mini training on how to create and stop creating blocky brows. You can see that all in the links below. So I've applied all the tint here, and then I'm gonna wipe off the front to keep more of that ombre. And then you can see that I wiped off too much in the bottom, so you can always touch it up with a little bit more stain. Inside the Bye Bye Blocky Brows training, you guys, I teach you 3 different methods of how to apply the stain. So here I'm doing the traditional staining, but if you want to learn more hair stroke, if you want to learn the mascara wand method that only really focuses on dyeing the hair, then all of that is inside my $47 training. So if you're not ready to make the big investment, trust me, that training is jam-packed with a lot of information and will get you started and on leveling up your brows to create more of a natural result right away. And then after that, I'm gonna let the other brow set for the same amount of time. You can use a timer here as well. And I'm going in and waxing the rest of the brows with our brow code wax, which I absolutely love because again, it picks up on those fine hairs really, really easily. And then here, I kind of skip the step of applying the rejuvenating step. So we just want to make sure we coat the brows nice and even and make sure that the entire brow is saturated, and then we're styling them into place. As you can see, we have them all combed over and then tips brushed down with a little bit of concealer here with our Buff Brows palette. Super, super light, you guys. And then, you know, just keeping it very natural and blended and using the remainder of what's on the brush here on the top. On both brows. And then here is the final result, you guys. And then let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below.